Welcome back to part 2 of Form 1 Science, Chapter 2, Cell as the Basic Unit of Life. So, we're going to continue off from where we left off. So, now we're going to study about the types and functions of animal cells. So, first of all, we have the epithelium cells, alright? So, epithelium cells in general forms a layer to protect organs in the body. So organs as the inside. So some of these epithelium cells produces mucus. So these particular type of epithelium cells are generally so-called specialized epithelium cells, as in like they are from the normal epithelium cells, but they have been modified to suit the purpose of a certain part. So an example of the epithelium cells that forms that produces mucus is actually epithelium cells in the lining of our intestines. So yeah, they produces mucus and so on. So here's an example image of here epithelium cells, which is lying kind of in an orderly manner. So yeah, these are the epithelium cells. So next up, we have the nerve cells. Okay, nerve cells have long fibers. They carry information in the form of electrical impulses throughout the body. So these are the three types of nerve cells that we can find. So you study more about them in Form 4 biology. Yeah. So next up, we'll be learning about the muscle cells. So the muscle cells contracts and relaxes to enable movement of any part of the body. So um, again, there are many types of muscles. So main types of muscles are probably the skeletal muscles, skeletal muscle tissues, the cardiac muscle tissues, and the smooth muscle tissue. So different types of muscle tissue over here have different structures which is suit for a particular part of the body. So for example, I'll give you an example. Cardiac muscle tissues, which is shaped like this or structured like this, is especially for the cardiac area, which is the heart. So these muscles can be found at the heart. Alright. So I don't want to go into this, so all you have to know is that muscle cells contract and relaxes to enable movement for any part of the body. This is, you will learn it in your Form 4 biology again. So yeah, look forward to it. So next up is the red blood cell. I'm sure you all have heard red blood cell somewhere in your life before. So red blood cell, they are biconcave shape. They have no nucleus to enable more surface area for them to hold more oxygen. Alright. So it contains hemoglobin. So this hemoglobin will bind with oxygen to carry the oxygen from the lungs to the body cells and binds with the carbon dioxide to excrete it out from body cells to the lungs. Alright, so this is the picture of red blood cells, same color as my highlighter. So next up will be the reproductive cells. Reproductive cells carries genetic information. So there are two types, sperm and ovum. As you can see in the picture over here, the first one, the top one here, is the sperm. It generally has a head and a tail, alright, and the ovum, which in a sense you can call it an egg, alright. So the sperm and the ovum over here. So for those who don't know, sperm is the smallest cell inside any type of human body, while the ovum is the largest cell in any type of human body. So yeah, so on to the next one, you have the white blood cells. So white blood cells are part of the body defense mechanism. So there are many types of white blood cells. So I've taken this diagram which shows everything the white blood cells. So here, white blood cells, platelets. So white blood cells, there are 5 types in general, which is these 5 over here. You don't need to know the names over here, but I'm just exposing it to you. You learn it in your Form 4 biology. Yeah, if you take biology, that is. So now that we have learned the types and functions of animal cells, now we'll jump to plant cells. So plant cells, first of all, that's the epidermal cells. Okay, epidermal cells reduce water loss, allow gaseous exchange, and absorption of water and nutrients. Next, we have the palisade cells. which contains chlorophyll that absorbs sunlight and carry out photosynthesis. So here's a diagram from the textbook again. Alright, so I'm going to explain it as best as I can. Epidermal cells, which is generally is over on top over here, this upper epidermis and the lower epidermis. So as you can see over here, the lower epidermis have this like opening over here. So these are actually the gut cells, which is the two bean-shaped cells, alright, which have one opening which is called the stoma. So only, okay, not only, but most of the stomas and gut cells can be found at the lower epidermis, while at the upper epidermis is mainly of the same epidermal cell that lines it. So yeah, the processes here, the palisade cell, which is nicely lined up over here in the orderly manner, is the top part over here, which is the palisade cell. So this palisade cell is actually, I would say, is the cells that face the sunlight first, and thus it has a lot of chlorophyll for it to absorb as much sunlight as possible to carry out photosynthesis for the plants. So next up, we have the gut cell. Alright, the gut cell controls the opening and closing of the stoma, as I have said before in the previous slide. It opens during the day and closes during the night. So the gut cells kind of looks like this, which the gut cells, which is these two things over here, right? The bean-shaped cells. So now this condition is when during the day where the stoma is open, and this is the closing of the stoma at night, usually in general. So next we have the root hair cell. Root hair cell, another specialized cell of the root. So the root hair cell, as you can see, most cells at the roots is like this, and some they have like this extra long hair over here to increase the surface area to absorb more water and nutrients. So next one, we need to learn of the order of cell organization. So as you can see here, I believe the textbook has summed it up quite nicely, so I've taken a picture from the textbook once again. So cell to tissue to organs to system to organisms. So what does it mean by these arrows or flowchart? So let's say in cells are the most basic unit of life. So multiple cells, okay, wait, let me on my highlighter. Multiple cells will turn into tissue. Multiple tissues combine together to form an organ. When multiple organs work together, they form a system, many types of system, and multiple systems will form an organism. So as you can see, the cell over here, animal cells, for example, epithelium cells. One cell can only do so much, but imagine if these epithelium cells join force with many other epithelium cells, they form epithelium tissues. So epithelium tissues, or rather tissue in general, cells with the same function combine to form a tissue. So in plants, it's from epidermal cell to epidermal tissue. So the next level of cell organization will be the organ. So different tissues that work together to perform a specific function forms an organ. So as you can see over here, at the stomach lining, there's the nerve tissue, the epithelium tissue, and the muscle. Epithelium tissue, which is the one that lines the stomach. The nerve tissue, which sends impulses, electrical impulses for information carrying and response and whatnot. And the muscle for the stomach to gives it a little bit of movement to help digestion. So for the plant, there's the leaf, it's just xylem, phloem tissues, epidermal tissues, and so on. Yeah. So many organs form into a system. So a system is a few organs with related functions that work together for a specific function, which forms a system. So as you can see over here, there's a human body over here. It has a mouth, it has an esophagus, it has a stomach, it has small intestine, large intestines. All these are organs. So all these organs are involved in the digestive system. So this is how a system is formed. For plant, however, for the plant instead, there's the leaf organ, there's the stem organ, there's the root organ, and so on. So these forms are all involved in transportation system. So Yeah, so the water over here, I think they're indicating about the xylem vessels, the xylem tissue, which helps to transport water. And maybe for photosynthesis, you can have phloem, which transport the photosynthetic products throughout the whole plant, wherever there is needed. So multiple systems forms an organism for both organism human and the organism for plant. So organism are all the systems work together to support an organism. Alright, so systems in the body. So there are many types of systems in the body. So these are the main systems. So first, there's the excretory system. So excretory system is basically the system that helps to remove waste from your body. So the main organs that functions in the excretory system are the lungs, skin, and kidney. Lungs, which exhales out carbon dioxide. Skin, which releases sweat, which has some sort of residue waste inside there. And the kidney, which helps to remove waste from your body in the form of urea, and also the resorption, but that's for another story. So the second system that we're going to learn is the skeletal system. Skeletal system comprises of your whole skeleton. So the skeleton supports the body and protects the inner organs such as the lung and the heart. So for example, the skull here, the bones, which comprise the skeleton. Then there's the lymphatic system. So the lymphatic system is mainly formed of the lymph vessels, the lymph nodes. So in general, lymphatic fluid are drained into a blood vessels to protect the body from infection to bacteria, viruses, and others. So fun fact, lymphatic system, the lymph fluid, the lymph in general, alright. Lymph contains a lot of white blood cells, so it can be transported throughout the body easily to counteract against any kind of intruders, I would say, which is called pathogens, antigens. Yeah. So for the digestive system, you have the mouth, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, as its organs. It helps to break down complex food into simpler forms so that it's more easily absorbed by the body. Then there's the muscular system, which consists of all types of muscles throughout your whole body. It helps the movements of body and inner organs through the contraction and relaxation of its muscles. Yeah. So there's the intergarmentary system, which is basically your skin. It protects the body from dehydration and regulates body temperature. Then there's the nervous system, which consists of brain, spinal cord, nerve, and for extras will be the peripheral system, which is not the central nervous system but the side system. So it carries information from brain to the entire body in the form of impulse or electrical impulse. The more accurate one will be electrical impulse, but I think you can write impulse for now. So next is the blood circulatory system, which involves the heart and the blood vessels in general. So it carries oxygen, nutrients, and hormones to all parts of the body. It also helps to remove carbon dioxide and excretory waste. So yeah, then there's the respiratory system, the nose, the lungs, absorbs oxygen and releases carbon dioxide from the body. Endocrine system, which means basically your hormone system in a sense. Okay, so main organs are pituitary gland, the ovary, the thyroid, the adrenal glands, the pancreas, the testes. Produces hormones required to coordinate reactions in the body. So next up is the reproductive system. For male, it will be their testes and their penis. And for women, it will be for their ovary as their organs. So produces sperms and ovum to produce offsprings. So now we'll be learning about respiration. So there are two types of respiration, which are external respiration, aka breathing, and internal respiration, which is cell respiration, something that you cannot see but it happens. Alright. So breathing in general is the exchange of gases between the environment and the organism. So you like breathe. Yes, that is breathing. Alright. So in the cell respiration, something that I don't see, something that's very small. Is in a sense is an oxidation process to break down the glucose and release energy. Or in a sense you can say it's produce ATP. Is in general ATP is broken down to form energy. So yeah, for now you can say it's release energy or to produce ATP. ATP, for those who don't know, is adenosine triphosphate. So yeah. On to the next one, cell respiration. So we'll be focusing on cell respiration. Not respiration in general as the external respiration where we breathe, but cell respiration. So cell respiration, one thing important is the word equation. So I've shown you glucose plus oxygen. After cell respiration, it will produce carbon dioxide, water, and ATP. So in a sense, ATP is energy. So yeah, I'll probably write that down. I didn't on my highlighter, so yeah, so sorry again. So here you can actually write it as energy instead. Okay, hold on. Oh my god, writing with the mouse is not fun at all. Yeah, so this ATP is basically the same thing as energy. So sorry for my writing, I'm not used to writing with the mouse. Yeah, okay, so for a level, we'll just say it as energy, alright? So, yeah. Next up, photosynthesis. So again, photosynthesis, the word equation is very important for our syllabus. So this is the, let me on my highlighter before I forget it again. This is the actual equation, which is very long, very confusing, alright? Carbon dioxide plus water with the help of light, with the presence of light and chlorophyll, you form glucose, oxygen, and water. But of course, for your level, we exclude the fact of the chemical formulas. So it's simplified into carbon dioxide plus water with the presence of light energy and chlorophyll forms glucose and oxygen. We forgo this water and water as to simplify the equation. So yeah, for your level, we only learn the bottom one, the carbon dioxide plus water, glucose plus oxygen. Yes. So that's it for chapter 1. Chapter 2, I'm so sorry, chapter 2. So yeah, that's all for now. Looking forward for you to watch other videos of ours. So thank you for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.